Our correspondent in Nairobi in Kenya, and as we know, schools in that country are reopening today. They were closed for about 9 months to contain the spread of the coronavirus. The Kenyan government and its development partners will provide around 7 million masks for school children from the vulnerable homes, but more than 8 million parents will be paying for the masks. And we now cross to Nairobi to our correspondent Sarah Kimani. Sarah, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Live. I see school children and some parents queuing in the background. What is happening and what is the mood as schools are opening for the first time in this year?
Good morning, Simpiwa, and indeed, Happy New Year from Nairobi, Kenya. It's a bright day. Monday, the beginning of a school term, not the school year as it would have been, but the beginning of a school term. Indeed, that is a story that is dominating headlines even here in Nairobi. This is two of the main dailies. The Standard says the schools gamble, and it goes on to talk about the nation taking a bold step to bring back 15 million learners to school, even though I will be talking about the challenges that they face. The Daily Nation, also one of the main newspapers here, talking about the big test for the schools. Now, the reason they're talking about the big test is because schools have actually been closed for 9 months. And during these 9 months, Kenyans expected that the government would do a lot of things to ensure that there is social distancing. And when the children indeed come to school, then they will find places that are ready. Now, when we visited here, most of the issues are still the same. But parents are upbeat, children are upbeat, very happy to be back in school. However, there are things that have been put in place to contain the spread of the virus.
The local newspaper that you just showed us says it's a school gamble. What does it mean? Do you get a sense that most of the schools are not ready in terms of PPEs, in terms of providing safety and protection for the learners?
Well, we are in one of the schools, Kimani Primary School. It's a public primary school, just to give you a picture of exactly what the gamble is about. Now, there are about 1,350 children in this particular school. When we spoke to the principal, she says they have not constructed any new classrooms during that time, during the period that the school was closed, that is 9 months. And that is the case across the country. All the 23,000 plus schools, there's no new infrastructure. Indeed, people have been laughing off a suggestion by the education minister that if the classrooms are not enough, if teachers feel that there is not enough space inside the classrooms, then they should be innovative, including studying or bringing out the pupils to study under trees. Now, but there's some things that you can see immediately when you come in. For example, here, when a child comes in, they must wash their hands at the gate, and then their temperatures are taken, and only then can they move into the classrooms. The classrooms are still the same, and there's going to be a challenge if I just move away from the picture for a minute, and you can be able to see parents queuing up to have their children admitted. Now, some of these parents who are here are actually new parents, meaning from the 1,350 pupils that we expected in the school, then that population is going to increase, even though the classrooms remain the same. And this is because private schools, several private institutions have closed, and so parents are being forced to seek places in public schools like this. So there's going to be congestion, and this is where the worry is. What happens then to ensure that there's social distancing, to ensure that the children who then come to these schools do not contract COVID-19. Their face masks, as you can see. They are washing their hands, but there is also going to be a lot of pupils whose parents cannot afford face masks. So the Kenyan government is saying it will step in to provide at least 7 million masks to the vulnerable homes or to the vulnerable pupils.
So what's going to be different now from the last time schools were opened back in March?
Well, when we spoke to the principal here, and indeed what we have had in terms of the guidelines, for example, during break time, not all the children will come out to play at the same time. They will go in groups and in different classes so that then social distancing is ensured and that they limit the amount of interaction. Children will be expected to wear their face masks throughout the time that they're in school, teachers too. And they will also have now committees that can be able to monitor children to see to it that those who are unwell are treated. Indeed, schools are now having to put up sanatoriums or health facilities where children can be checked and treated very quickly. We also understand in boarding schools there will be no visiting days. Pupils will stay in school throughout the term without being visited. Assemblies have been banned, and so have co-curricular activities like sports, music festivals. All those will not be allowed now.
So what's the Education Department saying to alleviate the fears that the parents might have?
Well, they have not exuded a lot of confidence, and parents actually are worried that the government doesn't seem well prepared. Take, for example, just like I told you, the Education Minister, Professor George Magoha, saying that parents and teachers should allow children to study under trees or to use other facilities in the school like dining halls or sports halls to be able to ensure social distancing, is making them fear that government did not really prepare, and so they're worried that there is going to be infections. Indeed, we saw it when children joined schools in October. There were infections in some schools, although those were contained very fast. So it will be a story that we'll be following for some time to see whether there will be enough measures put in place to ensure that the pupils and the learners stay safe during the time.
All right, Sarah Kimani, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your update. We appreciate your time.